Hope nobody's listening to this right now. Just getting ready for the 4th of July, one of my favorite holidays, which I broke down a lot of times with my family, going upstate and fireworks and stuff. Hopefully, most of you are not traveling because, man, I have no idea what was going on last week. But traveling was a disaster. I mean, not just with me, but a lot of my friends, colleagues, I was telling the story. They just had trouble getting out of airports last weekend. And for me, I was in New York for business and a little bit of pleasure since I played in a charity golf tournament. Just memorial for a good friend that passed away around 7 years ago that I play in every year, and definitely got some business done and some meetings. But the flight going to New York was okay from Jacksonville, but JFK coming back here, I mean, I really felt like I was in a twilight zone. My plane was supposed to leave originally 9 p.m. on Saturday. I specifically made the flight for Saturday night because who travels on Saturday, right? Figure it'd be better than coming home, New York City, than on Sunday. So it's Saturday night, not too many people travel. Yeah, I travel all the time. And usually when I travel on Saturday nights, you don't see a ton of traffic. So first, I'm pulling up to the JFK jet terminal, right? It was nice enough to have someone from the rent-a-car that I dropped off drive me up there. And as you know, most terminals are crowded when you get there. There's a bunch of cars there. You got to go around them and, to drop somebody off. This was different. The ramp leading up to the platform was completely jammed. It took me 15 minutes just to get to that crowded area to the actual terminal where I can get dropped off. Then once I got there, it was insane. At first, the terminal inside, nothing was working. The computers were working. So the only way you could check in, right, if you had luggage, is by doing it outside. And JetBlue had nobody around. Nobody around that you could ask, nothing. Just, it was like you going to the track in Kentucky Derby. That's how crowded it was. It was insane on Saturday night, right? So you had to check in your bags outside. The line to check in your bag outside was at least 150 deep. And I'm not talking about 1, 2. Some of these people were flying international. I had 10 bags. Of course, it was like 90 degrees outside. So, they got to get there 2 hours early. And I'm waiting an hour to check in my bags, right? And I get up to the counter, and there's 2 ladies in line. They were there for a very long time. They have 8 bags of luggage. Out of the 8, 5 were overweight. So that means instead of paying $35 or whatever, it's going to be $60, probably more than that, something like that. So they literally open up every one of their bags, clothes all over the place, shifting things back and forth, right? This way they could lower the weight so they didn't have to pay it. Took up at least an hour for that one spot. And it was 3 spots, 3 people, right? 3 people working there to help check in people for your luggage. So when I finally get up to the window, some guy barely speaks English, right? He comes in, he's like, I got a question. And as he's asking a question, he's like, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, no. You know what I'm saying? It took me an hour to get here, buddy. Listen, get online. I'm only going to be 5 minutes, please. And again, he really didn't speak English. He just completely ignored me. And he decides to shoot out that question and ask it anyway, right? Even though I'm like, can I just get this done really quick? I've been waiting online for an hour. So the question he asked the guy, is this a JetBlue terminal? And I actually turned to him. I'm like, you're kidding me. Like, he probably didn't understand anything. I was like, is that really the question that you were dying to ask? I mean, the entire terminal is JetBlue. It's written in letters, pretty much the same size that you would find in a stadium, right in front of the terminal. I mean, a better question would have probably been, is this the airport? That would have been a much better question. I kind of feel bad for what these people have to deal with, because it's crowds, people are pissed off. But really, that was the question that you asked. Like I said, it's like a Twilight Zone. Then I'm trying to rush since it's getting close to boarding. And I decided to upgrade my seat to more legroom. And it wasn't a legroom I needed, but by paying, it was only $35. It allowed me to fast track through the security gate. Basically needed to do this because there were hundreds and hundreds of people in line and it wasn't moving. So I was able to cut about 75% of the people, right? And they pushed us into a line. And then the line I was on separated into 2 different lines, which I thought was great because now we have 2 people checking the IDs and everything and your boarding pass and, we'll get right through security and it'll be fine. Absolutely not. One line, of course, the line I wasn't on, the guy was checking IDs and boarding passes really super fast, checking like 2, 3 people at a time, going in, okay, you're good. But, every like 5 seconds, okay, you're good. The line that I was on, and for me to actually mention this, that's how slow he was. I mean, he was checking IDs and passports pretty much as slow as you possibly can. I mean, he was writing all over the boarding passes, writing like a little note, putting your license in the machine twice to make sure it's real, or looking at the IDs, looking at your face and looking at the license, looking at your face like 3 times, and it's painfully slow. And now we have probably about 50 people who are on lane 1 just got ahead of me to go through security. So I'm getting a little nervous, like 30 minutes before my flight leaves, but hey, this gets even better. I get inside the terminal. I'm rushing because they already started boarding. At least that's what I thought. But then I get a text to the terminal and says the flight's delayed for an hour from 9 to 10 p.m. So I really wasn't too upset because, hey, I can grab a bite to eat. I was rushing. I'm a little sweaty here. I said, hey, I can relax a little bit. So I relax. 9:30 rolls around. It's boarding time. And there's tons of people standing right in front of the line for the terminal. And the terminal right across from us is also boarding, and it's delayed. So there's people everywhere. You almost can't get down the aisle to get to the rest of the terminals. That's how many people were there, right? But specifically for us, we had people right in front of the terminal, right in front. So they're calling people. They're like, okay, Group A, and I was Group A after I upgraded, right? So I'm trying to get in. And as I'm trying to get in, I'm asking these people, and again, these about 10 people didn't speak English, and I see one of their boarding passes, and it's like Group D or E, so it's like 20 minutes before you're gonna get on, 20 minutes before you're gonna get on. So she calls, and I'm like, okay, could you move? Nobody could get on. And then right before we're about to get on, she makes an announcement. By the way, the girl was making announcements. It was like, okay, it was very like she was whispering, nobody could hear, but they're like, oh, well, the full flight crew isn't here yet, so we're going to have to wait a little while. So they announce boarding, and they say, wait, not yet, right? So forget about the people standing in front who are boarding the plane last that are just blocking it, the terminal. That's how crazy it was. But now we have to wait for another person for the crew to come in, and we finally see someone come, and they're walking, laughing like it's, they got a million things to do, and all these people are waiting. So finally I board the plane, right? And everyone's now coming onto the plane. And again, when I boarded the plane, Group A, so I'm one of the first people. So this lady with young boys, 2 young kids, boards after me. And I'm in row 12, and she's about 50 people board the plane, hardly anyone's on it. She comes down the aisle to row 13 and puts the carry-on bags up into the baggage space in row 13. So one of the kids goes, Mom, we're sitting in row 5. Why did you put your luggage there? And she was like, oh, my God, there's no way she can get back to the front of the plane. Everybody's loading back on the plane. So she's got these 2 kids forced in one aisle. She's like sitting on my lap as people are coming in because she can't get to the front of the plane. And she didn't put the luggage in the back because, all the spots were taken in row 5, 6, 7. No, she just had no idea. I have no idea what she was thinking of going to the back of the plane or in the mid part of the plane and putting the baggage there and thinking she's going to be able to get it. So she had to wait till everybody to board before she can go back to her seat. So I have, basically this lady just almost sitting on my lap, waiting for everybody to come in before she can get to the front of the plane. Finally, everybody boards. We pull away from the terminal and we're on a runway for about 90 minutes, right? So it's midnight now. There's like 20, 30 planes on the runway ahead of us. Everywhere we turn, there's just planes everywhere, right? That's why I laugh when so many people say, the economy's bad, it's weakening. I had to wait 30 minutes to get a slice of pizza that I was going to pay $6 for, okay? The economy's fine, believe me. I travel everywhere. It's not bad. So we finally take off. I wind up landing at 2:30 a.m. This is Saturday, right now into Sunday. And I get in my car. I have a parking ticket. I go to the automated lane, and now the credit card machine doesn't work. So I have to wait 10 minutes, 2:30 in the morning, before someone comes to help me. So this girl comes over, and I'm like, these are like new systems. Why'd you get rid of the old ones? I've been coming here for 8 years. It worked perfectly. She was like, well, they're too old. We couldn't update them. And I'm like, yeah, but they worked. Isn't that better than upgrading to a system that doesn't work? You have to feel, I felt bad getting on her a little bit, but you have to realize I've been, it's been a tough day. So I wound up getting home at 3:30. Now, look, you know me. At least a lot of you have been listening to this podcast for a while. I'm an optimist. I love people. I'm a pretty easygoing, generally happy guy. But almost every one of these problems were caused by stupid people. Either they're stupid or just complete inconsiderate. By not knowing the weight on 5 of your bags of luggage, which held up the line for hundreds of people, People not having their ID ready to check in their bags outside. I mean, the guy had to walk down. It took him 5 minutes to go down that line in front of JetBlue that we were all standing on and come back and say, could you please have your IDs out? This way you're ready to check in. So people would get there and then they wouldn't find their ID for a couple minutes and with all these people online. I mean, nobody helping out in the JetBlue terminal. I mean, no workers anywhere. Just to say, hey, guys, we're having computer problems. Please go out. You know, I went inside the terminal first, and by the time I got outside, there's probably another 25 people online. The lady storing her bags in the back of the plane when she's sitting in the front. The people blocking the gate to get on the plane. I mean, just a complete hot mess. So the point of this long, aggravating, and I love venting. I love venting on this podcast, right? Just helps me out tremendously. It's like therapy, I always say. But I just hope and pray that if you're traveling, you don't experience any of this, but you may, because 4th of July is one of the most high traffic days, travel days. So good luck if you're traveling, because I know when you have a time like I have, at least I can vent on the podcast. Everybody listens and says, holy cow, this is crazy. But when you walk into, you know, to see your family or family members you haven't seen in a while after you have a trip like that, it's stressful. Again, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be happy. And most of the stuff that happened to me could simply been avoided if people were just a little smarter. I'm not talking about you have to be brilliant. Just, you know, don't be so stupid and things would have moved along a lot easier.